Well, this is a view you haven't seen before, or at least for a while.
This is the kitchen. You are essentially sitting at what will be the dining table with the beautiful French glass window behind you at the front of the building. Front door is over there. This is the view you get when you walk into the house. You saw it many times at the beginning of our YouTube channel, but this is the first time this space has all been fully open. The stairs over there are gone, the new floor area is in, the stud work behind us is in. The stairs are in.
The ceiling has been plastered.
Oh my God!
And that light bulb above my head, that's for the island.
It's going to be a beautiful vintage light that you may have or may not have seen in a previous episode when we went to Retrouvius and found the light, and we're going to get it and show you. But we wanted to talk about
The layout.
the kitchen layout because it's been backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. And I think we've nailed it, but we wanted to talk you through all the stages. There were many. And we also wanted to talk about the electrical plan because it's complex. There are many different lighting states in this room.
Because it has to work really hard. This is the ground floor, this is our main kitchen, dining space.
He's jumping into it, he's diving straight in. I was just doing the opening gambit.
Oh, okay.
The opening gambit
has been gambited.
So that I can then dive into the electrical plan.
Okay. I wasn't going to talk about the electrical.
Oh, right. Okay. Carry on. Sorry, I stopped you. Go.
I sort of forgot what I was saying. So anyway, here we are in the kitchen. Welcome.
Shall we talk you through what you're looking at?
Yes. We built this wall behind us, and the kitchen is essentially going to sit within this nook from here to there. A long run of kitchen, which is actually longer than the kitchen we had in our previous house, ironically, because it's a smaller house. But as this is going to function as, multi-functions in one space, we wanted the kitchen to be the centre of it.
And so this is going to be double storage space, fridge, freezer, larder, up to this point. And then we're going to have low cabinets there, sink, and then an island. And on the island will be the hob, the cooker, storage, ample storage for crockery and glassware and pots and pans.
It's quite a big island, and actually originally we'd positioned it more that way, but we actually moved it to here, so the island does come all the way out to here. So as I said, that light is positioned over this side of the island with the hob in the middle and the oven, and it goes all the way over to that corner over there. You can't see, but it's drawn on the floor.
It goes over to here. So at one time the island was right the way over here in line with this door opening. That's the door down to the basement, by the way, with the stairs down there, so there will be a fire door in place there. But we've shifted the island across because when we opened the space up and when the floor went in where the old stairs used to be, we realised we had much more width. And actually over there, because you're left with a sort of strange wedge shape, it's not like you can create some sort of separate seating area. It's not big enough. So we thought we may as well let the kitchen breathe a little bit.
And actually this way, the kitchen is entirely centred. It's not as long as the kitchen wall, but it's entirely centred on this back kitchen wall. And also this pendant light is centred exactly on this opening. Can you still see me? Has my head disappeared?
You're still there.
Am I?
You're still there.
Away. So basically between this piece of wall and this piece of wall here is a big opening so that you can still see the brick wall. And that pendant light above the island is centred on this window.
You're kind of camouflaged with the brick wall behind you.
Am I invisible? If I move, you can see me. And then there's two lights here.
And that stair goes up. This stair goes down.
Oh my God.
So they're above each other. They're nicely tucked away. You'd never know there were staircases there. The reason this all changed is because when we exposed the brick wall, we fell completely in love with it. And we just thought how cruel that when you walk in the front door, you won't be able to get a sense of that brick wall. And so we thought we have to come up with some solution. So rather than fill this all in with full height kitchen, we thought, let's make glass here and let's see that brick wall so that when you enter, you not only get a sense of the materials of the building and the heritage of the building, but you also get a sense of space right the way through, which is kind of lovely. And also a lovely sort of moment of theatre when you move up and down the stairs.
So
if someone's sitting, dining, or in the kitchen, it's kind of lovely.
And you know us, never to do anything by half. We could have done a small window, or we tried a circular window, or like a sort of letterbox window at the top. And then actually we realised if it's this big, it can essentially be the same as the front window. So it's called 303.
The front window is so special, isn't it? It's kind of like that window has literally been pushed all the way here, and this one mirrors it, and there will be a Sapele solid frame that will be exposed timber, which again will warm this space up, but it will mimic the front window.
And then this area over here, which you can still see me in currently, but this will be like a utility space, and then this will be the big silver door, which is there behind Russell.
Shall we get it? Shall we show you the door?
Oh God, dare we?
Oh, dare we get it?
It's all covered up because we've just plastered the ceiling.
Let me look at it.
God.
It's sort of...
Are we going to carry it together?
I think so.
Oh,
your
God.
end. Both hands on your end.
Oh my God.
Don't drop it on your foot.
Literally. Oh my God.
That will do. We won't put it exactly in position. But
Well, we may as well. Let's lean it there so that we can just... Come on, back. Ish.
Are you happy there? Are you staying?
Oh my God, that's
Gorgeous.
so weird. I want to see what it looks like.
So again, from the front door, one of the lovely views that you will get as you walk into the building is you will immediately see that you will see brick wall, you will see some Sapele, a potentially metal kitchen. We haven't yet pressed go on it.
You come and stand here and hold this. I want to stand over there and look back at it. I'm just worried in case it falls.
It's not going to fall, it's lent.
It's not lent very much. Oh my God, it looks so nice. It's a bit wild, isn't it? So then here to our right, which is just off camera, but you can sort of see here.
The outdoor space is there, and that's soon to be opened up, but that's for another week. But it's going to completely transform the space, because if you can imagine all the light that's going to suddenly flood in from that side, it's just going to be completely light filled.
Well, I'm here actually because these two windows are still covered up. We can show you that, but because we've just had the ceiling plastered and we were like, this place was getting trashed. But anyway, the windows have been largely covered. So when they're open and that's open, this is going to be a very, well, it already is a bright space, but it's going to be even brighter.
Well, it's glass on three sides, isn't it? So it's just going to be like,
yeah.
Ah! This is currently with just the window at the front, and even that's got plastic on it. So it's going to be a lovely bright room. Shall we talk about what's through there?
Yes. Let's. What is through here?
Well, in there is a sort of a pantry / utility / boot room. It's trying to perform lots of roles. We haven't yet decided what its identity is, but it's a small space that's going to be doing a lot. There is a downstairs toilet where the current boiler room is. So the boiler will be boxed in, toilet below, sink on the wall. It's very small, but it's perfectly formed. It will be a little drama moment. We're going to add some, it's got a stainless steel toilet, it's got a concrete sink, it's going to have a moment of colour. So it will be drama in its materiality, if not in its size.
I think in our previous house, we didn't actually have a pantry or a larder or like a utility room, which seems crazy because it was a much, much bigger house. But 2 houses before that, when we had a Victorian terraced house, we did have a utility room, and it was really very useful, particularly for you who is the kitchen cook person. For me, I'm just like, it could be an extra wardrobe. But for us, it was really important to have that somewhere that like the Magimix can be, or like, I don't know, all the things that you cook with.
The air fryer, the NutriBullet, the things that you don't necessarily want to be on show in here when you walk in the front door, all of those things, the KitchenAid, they can all be in that back room. And we also have a second sink out there. So if we're doing painting or if we're crafting, if we're making something that's a bit messy and we don't want to ruin our main kitchen,
Yeah.
we've got an extra sink out there, which is going to be a godsend. It seems a little bit extravagant given the size of the space, but I think it's really important. And we've also got natural light out there because there is an existing sash window. So that room has its own natural light. It also creates the vestibule for the staircase, which is going to be a kind of main key space for this house, because anytime we want guests to go upstairs into the living room, maybe listen to some music, watch a movie, have cocktails, whatever, anything that happens upstairs, that's the way that you will go. So we don't want people to be looking at the utility necessarily all of the time. So we have come up with a cunning plan of a curtain that goes across at certain times when you want it to, so that it doesn't take up any space in terms of a separate wall or a separate door, but it does give us the option of a screen, essentially, if we just don't want to be looking at that.
I quite like that. It feels like a sort of fancy cloakroom in a restaurant.
Yeah, it does. It does.
I quite like that.
And the curtain's going to be a little bit sheer, so it will disguise, but you will still get the natural light in that vestibule from the window.
It's funny because I'm somebody who actually really loves window treatments and curtains. And although we have a huge amount of window on this floor, I don't think we're going to have a huge amount of fabric. I think we've discussed before about having a curtain across the front door. Again, it feels like an East London pub, one of our favourite pubs, the Carpenter's Arms, which, if you don't know it, was the pub that the Crays bought for their mum, who ran it, and it's just 5 minutes that way. But it's really lovely, and in winter they have a big heavy velvet curtain that closes across the front door, and they have a fire, and it just feels really authentic to this area and this kind of property. So we are going to have something like that there, which will separate the dining area behind you.
Yeah, so that you'll get this kind of entrance vestibule, which will have its own separate floor mat. Then the dining room here, kitchen here, utility there. So there's several different things happening in the same space. Also, we're probably going to end up working here quite a lot because the laptop will undoubtedly be out on that dining table of a morning. It's gonna be a kind of very used, well-loved space, isn't it? Really, really important. Sure. In terms of layout, just wanted to talk through the kitchen as well, because we moved on very quickly from the kitchen because we got excited about the door. But the kitchen layout, I wanted to talk you through. Sink, dishwasher underneath, storage. The reason we've got the sink to one side is because...
Well, you wanted it in the middle, but then actually I made a good point that if it's in the middle, then you've only got two small sections of worktop either side. So if we have the sink in the middle of the island with two high cabinets that side and two low cabinets this side, we get like a full 1200 of workspace, which is very useful. Because we want the kitchen to, although it's a kitchen and needs to function, we do want it to look minimal and sleek and contemporary, because it is the first thing you see when you walk through the door. So we wanted it to almost look like a piece of furniture so that we can keep it sort of very clean and minimal.
It needs to be a strong statement because it's an impactful moment. Also, the sink being moved to the side there means that it's aligned with the hob, which is kind of lovely. The two sort of key functions are you can triangulate between the fridge and the hob and the sink, but also they just look nice and aligned.
Symmetrical.
We're not having an extractor fan because we're having inbuilt extractor that comes up out of the centre of the hob, which is a slight extra expense in terms of the hob choice, but less of an expense because there isn't an extractor in the ceiling.
And they just look so ugly. I mean, we've got such a beautiful pendant here. I mean, they can look nice against a wall, but I don't like them over islands.
Yeah.
Sorry, don't hate me.
I'm trying to think of an example where it's been pulled off really beautifully and been a feature. I remember that one that was like circular and then it had a big tube that sort of went, and it was almost like
industrial.
It felt really like it was a key feature in the entire room rather than an afterthought. But I agree with you. Typically, they look better when they're like under the cabinetry.
Yeah.
You know, covered over.
Hidden. We told you this is Russell's neck of the woods. I'm like, surely we've covered the kitchen.
He's so bored. He's just like, kitchen schmitchen.
What else is in
there? So, fridge, freezer, larder unit.
Yeah.
Over here, in between the two windows on this piece of wall, we're thinking we'll get like a vintage piece of furniture because everything in this space is going to be brand new and shiny and beautiful. I think we need a little bit of vintage style. We'll probably have some vintage chairs as well. So they'll probably be the only kind of vintage moments in the room. But they do ground everything and give it a bit more life. So cabinet here for coffee machine. That will be our coffee morning area.
Yeah.
Beautiful coffee machine, stainless steel, so I don't mind having it on show. And a key part of our life, so why hide it?
Well, and also very specifically because our bedroom is here. And every morning, the first thing we do is one of us gets up and makes coffee for us both. So actually, you've only got to come up the stairs and the coffee station's here. I was dead set against this at first because I just wanted it all hidden. And there was an iteration where we talked about having shelving in front of the windows, wasn't there? Which I do still love that
It
idea.
could still happen. I mean, who knows?
Very thin glass shelves in front where the window breaks are essentially for storage. But then we've gone back and forth on like how much do we want stuff around us that you see and not. So maybe a little coffee station there is the compromise.
And it's a nice moment to have a vintage piece
For sure.
because there is space. It's a small bit of wall. I think it's about 900 wide, isn't it?
So let me measure that.
It's going to be a tricky find. We haven't found it yet. We did find something beautiful.
It was a metre.
It was a metre wide. It was a museum cabinet out of pitch pine. Absolutely stunning, beautiful.
It's less than a metre. It's like 800.
It's 800. So
she's tiny.
She's small. She's going to need something very special. We're going to have to keep looking. And then final kitchen layout ideas, the island itself. The island isn't very big, admittedly. It's
2 metres
by a metre. So it will have hob in the centre, cooker, that side probably bin, and then all storage across that side, which will all be your crockery and your gorgeous things that can be used for the dining table, which is there, which is nice because they're easy to get to. And as I said, dishwasher will be on that wall. So it will have all of the functions.
We should talk about the island as well because a lot of people would have an overhang for stools at an island, and we did discuss that. But decided ultimately that storage was more important, and because the dining table is literally 5 steps away, that when Russell, I say Russell because I won't be cooking, Russell is cooking, I can just be sat at the table. I don't need to be sat at a stool at the counter.
Even as you're saying it though, I am imagining when that's been opened, I am wondering if we're going to think, oh God, I wonder if I do wish I could have the stool on the corner there and just be like
here,
sort of just drinking a glass of wine whilst I'm cooking.
Drink a glass of wine and I can still see you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we decided against a stool. And often we have found in the past, if we're really honest, that when we've had stools in a kitchen, they haven't been used. And the worktop potentially at this point is going to be stainless steel. So it will be really sleek and clean and sort of solid, thin stainless steel gorgeousness. You were going to talk about electrics.
I was, but even last night, I don't know where I was or what I saw, but I started to think about not having a steel worktop and going back to like having what we're having in the bathroom upstairs. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, the indecision of you didn't know.
I'm interested to know why. What was it that swayed you?
I can't remember.
Where did you go?
I either saw something or I was somewhere, but my brain's like male menopause. This is quite a good opportunity to also speak about the lighting because we were having the ceiling plastered, very specifically because that's a messy job, so that had to be done before we lay the floor, blah, 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 before the doors go in, blah, blah, blah. But it did mean that we had to very specifically position every light that's going into the ceiling. And there are quite a lot of them. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lights and 2 wall lights in this space.
Yeah.
And not one of them is a spotlight.
Well, I would argue some of them are spotlights.
They're downlights.
They're downlights. They're ceiling. They're not recessed spots.
No.
They're visible. They're ceiling mounted. They're a feature. So the lighting needed to be nailed in order for the ceiling plaster to go on. And in fact, we'd already done the electrical plan, but because again, some things had moved on and changed because we started to see some features that we liked. We've sort of tweaked a few parts of the electrical plan that was done months and months ago.
Yeah.
Still a similar amount of lights, but some changes of position. For example, these two are now centered on what will be a big window because that window didn't exist when we did the electrical plan.
Yeah, well, one of the reasons that we actually had to change them very specifically is because we found a light that we liked and we ordered one of them to see what it was like, and if we were happy with it, we were. And then when we went back to order 6 of them, they were literally sold out, and I contacted the brand and they were like, oh, it's been discontinued, it's not going to be restocked. And we were like,
damn it.
So that's annoying. But we have found something actually that we like even more, and it pushed us in a slightly different direction, which I'm very excited about. So 6 of these lights are going to match.
I feel like you should get them.
Where are they?
They're
I could go and get one of
upstairs.
them. Yeah.
Maybe bring the other light down as well.
What, the big one?
I can hear a tinkling coming down the stairs. Oh, here it comes.
And you'll be able to see me from here because this is a window. I can't wait till this is a window. Right.
I have this
That's
one.
the big bugger.
You probably remember this because we showed it to you previously, but this is the actual floor that it's going on.
It is, and it's actually going here.
If you can imagine, instead of this rather unfortunate white bulb, it's going to be here.
Oh my God, it's going to be so nice. And it really is like a massive focal point for the whole room. So, as we said, it's centered on that window. It's sorted. I mean, it's actually kind of centered on the entire room.
Well, it's a wonderful vista when you first walk in, like pow, shablam, here it
Yeah.
is. Obviously, there's no glass on it at the moment. There are some glass balls that go on this. But it also is centered on this, so it creates a gorgeous vista with the brickwork behind it, gorgeous contrast. I'm going to lower it because it's a little bit hard to hold it up there. But it also is centered on the end of the island, so it's off. It's sort of asymmetrical. Yeah, it doesn't interfere with your functional space because it is going to hang quite low. But it does mean that we can have like a gorgeous display underneath it that is illuminated, a little fruit bowl or some low-level flowers or something seasonal.
Cannot wait to be flower arranging.
I mean, can you imagine?
Oh my God. And then this little beauty is the one that we've got 6 of. So it's a very beautiful finish. It kind of looks bluish and grey. It's like oil is what it is like. So I think it's sort of, yeah, can you see it? There we go. So there are 6 of these. It looks more blue down here than it did.
Well, it's just the way that the steel has been heated. It's got that sort of gorgeous sheen on it. And
And then they're lights inside. But they throw like a really beautiful directional pool of light. So we very specifically placed these where we want to focus attention. So we've got one in front of each of the floor length windows. So not only does it light your way to the bedroom, but it also creates a really beautiful pool of light over those. And then we've got a wall light in the center of that wall, which will frame the coffee station and probably a piece of art.
Well, also wall lighting for ambient dinner parties is always gorgeous. So we'll probably just have the wall lights on when we have dinner. And a candle, and we maybe won't even have this main light on.
Well, this one's on a dimmer, so we could put this on really low.
Yeah, and then similarly, those lights are also going here and here, so that when you walk from the door, there is a straight line from the door to the center of this door. Mm-hmm. Not only, again, does this light here create a beautiful pool of light on the feature door, it also lets you know, come this way.
And then the last 2, which are actually the same but bigger.
No, they're smaller.
Oh, is this a big one?
That's the big one.
Oh,
yeah, they're smaller.
Okay, so we got 2 big and then 4 small. So the smaller ones go at the side and the 2 big go here. So they're going to go here, which is really lovely. And they very specifically light up the sink and then the prep area.
The functional lighting. Yes, please, functional lighting.
We also placed these with a standard cabinet is 600. So we've placed them specifically so that you, as the person stood in front of them, doesn't cast a shadow over them, so they very clearly light the workspace below.
They light what you're doing, not the top of your head. They're also positioned, again, bearing in mind that there are these 2 central struts for that window, so it's got 3 rows of glass, and the lights are kind of breaking those points, which will be really nice and align with the framework.
Pass me that big one. I'll take him back upstairs while we wrap up.
I'll take it upstairs. Here we go.
I was just going to say, this will be so handy for changing the light bulbs, but obviously it won't because it's glass.
Yeah, you won't be able to get to it from there. You'll have to have a ladder.
Oh, God. I'll be back.
I'll be back.
So that's pretty much all the lighting. Oh, and then obviously there's a pendant above the dining table, which is hopefully going to be something that we create. We've got a big idea for it, but
and there's these 2 wall lights which you've mentioned, but there's also another pendant. So we've got 3 pendants in this room. One for the front door because it's got a big glass light above the front door. We thought it's the perfect moment to have a beautiful lantern,
something vintage,
something that you can see from outside. We have found one, but we haven't pressed go yet because we're a little bit nervous. But we think we might have found it.
It's more expensive than I want it to be, but it is beautiful.
And this one, we're looking to make it. So that one is still in the ether, being created as we speak. 3 pendants in one room, that's a lot, isn't it?
Well,
especially for an open plan.
And these 2 are in direct relation to each other, so we don't want them to match. We want them to be completely in contrast, but also not fake, which is difficult.
Yeah.
We just did a quick switcheroo. So now the camera is where we've been stood for the whole video, and this is the dining area. So we've got this tiny little stud wall that we've kept here very specifically because we're going to have a banquette made that fits within that wall and this wall. So this will be where we sit like this at the dining table, big dining table here with chairs on the other side. So again, this sort of feels like a restaurant, like a sort of bougie little kind of
we may even decide
dining
to have a
nook.
little low-level cafe curtain across here. Who knows?
Oh God, that's a
Potential.
curveball. I've just spent the whole video saying we're not going to have any curtains.
Well, a little steel rod with just a little shear. No, too much.
No, we could have.
Too
It just
soft.
feels a bit. No, it just feels a bit too like a literal cafe or restaurant.
Too far. It's
Well, we'll
tipped
see.
over the edge.
We'll see.
Also, this window here is floor to ceiling. You can see the light up to this level. That's because there's wood below that is shielding the basement because the basement is open to this level. But it will be all the way down, so you'll get that lovely light flooding in.
Lovely light.
I'm noticing that you can't see a thing on
'Cause
our
we're in
faces because
shadow.
we're lit from behind, which is why we didn't film that way all along.
There
But
we are.
I wanted to give you a view of the other side of the room.
But you can also see just there above my finger. That's the little pendant. So above that door, and obviously the curtain will go from there all the way across in winter. I think that would be a really cute little vestibule area, and then banquette in there.
And the pendant light for the dining area is set sort of within this lovely dining nook and in the centre of the window. So it's going to be gorgeous. What a moment of drama.
I know, right?
So that is the layout of the kitchen, the electrical plan. First fix electrics are in now. The plasterboarding has begun on the walls and the ceiling plaster is done. And we're sort of really flying. And next week, as you say, we're going to be opening up that side wall and the floor also has to go in. So
underfloor heating and then flooring.
I suspect the flooring is going to take a while.
Even if they get the underfloor heating in on this floor and then just do the flooring around the back doors, that's enough because then they can lay the doors. The doors are coming on the 13th, so that has to be done. Please, guys.
Pray for us. Painting in the Gucci slides again.
No, these Gucci slides have seen the whole renovation. When we finish, I won't treat myself to them there.
Yowza. Missed a bit.
Wobbly.
There it is.